Hello, I appreciate you purchasing one of our craft kits. And today we are going to go over it. I'm going to show you guys how to make the Tsisdu's Heart craft kit and also tell the story of how Tsisdu found its voice, right? And so just to introduce myself really quick, my name is Abraham Bearpaw. I am the founder and creator of the Walking in Balance Wellness and Prevention Program. So if you haven't already, you can purchase our workbook on Amazon. All of the components are in there, a lot of really great information. It is culturally centered and evidence-based. So you get the culture and then all of the science and psychological knowledge to back it up, as well as the practical applications so that you can actually apply these really simple, components into your life, right? Here's also a daily planner. This is on Amazon as well. And so I encourage you, if you can, go ahead and pick both of those up. That daily planner can help you keep track of your program. Every day you can write what you're grateful for, your affirmations, keep track of your schedule, your self-care, all of those things, right? But we came here today to make some crafts. So let's go ahead and get started with it. So whenever you open up your craft kit for this craft, this is what you're going to find. So you see, here are some examples of what it could look like after you're all done, depending which craft kit you got, which colors. We have a lot of different colors, a lot of different colored rhinestones. And so you'll see in here what you're going to have is your magnet, and it's going to be unpainted whenever you receive it. You're also going to have a bag here of rhinestones and all of the embellishments and everything that you're going to need. And so you can go ahead and dump those out onto your wax paper. So the reason I put them on the wax paper is because the rhinestones, a lot of times they're going to be, upside down. So you can just tap that paper and that'll shift them around and can put them right side up for you, right? So boom, we have all of our rhinestones out over there. And, what we're really practicing today, like I said, is just mindfulness. To be able to be here, be present. I appreciate you giving yourself some time just to paint. It is really hard, with our productivity mindset to give ourselves permission to rest, to give ourselves permission to be creative. So that's really awesome you were able to do that today. But let's go ahead and start painting. We have everything laid out here. So, like I said, we have our rabbit, which is Tsisdu in Cherokee. That's where the name comes from, Tsisdu's Heart. We have a rabbit, our paper towel. We have our rhinestones, all of the embellishments. And then we have our crown. This is how you pick up the rhinestones. So all you do whenever you're ready to put them on, you just take your crown, put it right on one of these rhinestones here, and then it will pick it right up. Sometimes you have to rub the crown like a little bit, and then boom, it'll pick it up for you. And then you can put that rhinestone wherever you want on there. So before we put the rhinestone on, we'll need to put some glue. And that's what this applicator is for. So the first thing we're going to do is paint, let it dry for just a second, and then we'll use some of our glue here. I'll just use this applicator, dip it in there, and then I put the glue where I want a rhinestone to go or an embellishment, and then we're all good to go. So you can break your crown in half if you want to, if that's easier for you. A lot of rhinestoners, they buy, they're called rhinestone pickers. They're really just wax pencils, which is essentially just a crown, right? So anyway, so let's go ahead and start painting, and I will start to go ahead and tell the story of how Tsisdu found its voice. So you can paint this any way you want. You can do broad strokes. You can paint it solid, however you want. So the biggest thing to be mindful of whenever we are painting is to give ourselves permission to not be perfect, right? I don't know about you, if you struggle with perfectionism or not, but that can be something that, over time we can develop a really loud inner critic, right? I think we talked about that before. So we have lots of different craft kits that are going to be available. Um, Finger weaving, twine bags, flat reed ornaments, any number of things. But really, the goal with all of our craft kits is the same: just to be able to take a deep breath, be creative, allow ourselves to rest for a little bit, and this really does help with our wellness program. So, for whatever reason you are doing this craft, whether you're part of a parenting program, recovery program, or if you're doing this for burnout prevention, the end goal is the same. Behavioral health is actually, you know, it's simple, in some ways, in that really the better we feel, the better we're going to do, right? So definitely taking care of ourselves really does help. So while we're painting, I'm going to go ahead and tell the story. I think you guys got the instructions down, right? They're pretty simple. So, in Cherokee culture, when we tell our stories, we don't take them literal, right? We understand that the frog doesn't actually swallow the sun to explain an eclipse, right? But this is the medium that we had to pass down information. Even before Sequoia created our syllabary and we were able to write things out, right? We still relied on storytelling for a lot of things. So this is just another story, a way to explain things, to pass down lessons, values, and morals, right? And it was entertaining, right? So a long, long time ago, the animals, before there were people, only the animals were here. And when this story takes place, it was actually a really, really exciting day, because it was the first day that Tsisdu, the rabbit, was going to get a position working in the council house. So Tsisdu was like me, neurodivergent, got, a touch of ADHD, right? Tsisdu moved fast, thought fast, talked fast, right? Everything, right? So on this day, Tsisdu found himself with his first position in the council. Like I said, he was going to be the reporter for the council. So all of the things that were said in the council, he was going to keep the minutes and, keep track of everything. So the meeting started to take place. Very first meeting where Tsisdu the rabbit was allowed to attend. And presiding over the meeting was Owohali, the eagle. So Owohali was very serious and, really believed in keeping things moving at a good pace. And so Owohali brought the meeting to, adjourned the meeting, and so Owohali brought everybody together and began to speak. And so, started to talk about the things that they needed to accomplish as a community, the things that needed to be done. And everybody was quiet and respectful because Owohali commanded respect, right? And while Owohali was speaking, though, they started to hear a song in the back of the council chambers. It was faint, but it started to get louder. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Godohadani. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Godohadani. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Ahani. Everybody was looking around, and of course, they turned to Tsisdu, and it was Tsisdu singing. Tsisdu was not able to be quiet. Owohali was pretty angry, and so kicked Tsisdu out of the council chambers. Said, you know what, if you can't be quiet, you can't be in here, right? So Tsisdu was very sad, but they kicked him out, and he had to go outside. So they started the meeting again. Owohali began to speak, but it wasn't but a few minutes later, they heard the song coming from outside, except it was louder this time. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Godohadani. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Godohadani. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Ahani. Owohali was incensed, right? Really, really, really angry because he wanted to get this meeting done. And so he sent the bullfrog out, Kanuna, go out and make Tsisdu be quiet. So Kanuna the bullfrog took off and went outside and said, Tsisdu, we asked you to be quiet. That's why you couldn't be inside. So now we're going to have to take your rattle. So he took Tsisdu's rattle, came back inside. So you be quiet while we're having this meeting. So they started to meet again. Owoheli began to speak again, and it happened again. This time they didn't hear the rattle. They heard banging. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Gadohadani. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Gadohadani. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Ahani. Owoheli was angry again. So he sent Jukli the fox outside. Jukli, go make Tsisdu be quiet. So the fox took off outside and said, Tsisdu, I really like you, but you're messing up the meeting. You're being really loud. So how were you able to make those sounds anyway? We took your rattle. He said, I was using my feet. So he ripped off his arms and legs. Said, you will get these back at the end of the meeting. So then he was just a little stump and a little head sitting out there, right? Jukli came back in and they began to have the meeting again. And Owoheli began to speak again, and the meeting was going good. And then they heard the song again. The beat was a little faint, but they heard the song loud and clear. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Gadohadani. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Gadohadani. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Ahani. Owoheli was really, really angry. So he sent Yona the bear out this time. He said, Yon, go out there and make Tsisdu be quiet. So Yon went out there. Tsisdu was just sitting there, just a stump and a head. Said, Tsisdu, how are you continuing to make this beat and sing this song? We took your rattle, we took your arms, we took your legs. And he said, I was using my ears to bang against the ground to make the beat so I could sing the song. So Yon went up and ripped off his head. He said, you will get this back at the end of the meeting. Yon went back inside, and surely Owoheli said, we can finish the meeting now. And so they started to have the meeting again. Lo and behold, wasn't but a few minutes later, they actually heard the song again. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Gadohadani. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Gadohadani. Tsisdu, Tsisdu, Ahani. So they were really puzzled because they said, we took everything from Tsisdu. How is Tsisdu continuing to make these sounds, right? So they all went out this time. They all went out to see what was going on. And Owoheli walked up to Tsisdu and put his head next to Tsisdu's chest, and that's where he could hear that song coming from. The song was coming from Tsisdu's heart. And Owoheli was so touched that he actually gave him back his rattle, gave him back his arms, his legs, his head, because that whole time Tsisdu carried his song in his heart. And you can see I placed that heart there. And after that, like I said, everybody was so touched that Tsisdu persevered and kept going, even though he had lost everything. So the moral of this story, why we tell this story is just to remind everyone that no matter what happens, nobody can take your voice from you. And everybody is created perfectly, and you have your own special set of skills for a reason, right? So I'll put Tsisdu's rabbit, or Tsisdu's rattle, put it right here. Give him his rattle back. And Tsisdu's got his heart, just like that. But so, like I said, no matter what happens, nobody can take your voice from you. And so what they actually did was they gave Tsisdu a new job that was better for his skill set. And what he was going to do was take all of the council rulings, and he would go and tell everyone in the community what the council had decided, right? So that's what he was going to do. And that is the story of how Tsisdu found his voice. So at the end, you can see here, you'll be able to put on all of there's music notes. You may have a big heart in there or little hearts. You can use either one, and the rattles. And there you go. You will have your magnet. And just remember, you are perfect just the way you are. You're allowed to make mistakes, and you have a voice to contribute to the community. So until next time, I hope you stay well, and we will see you for the next craft. What up?